One, two, 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 one, two. Okay. We're going to see how this one goes. It's an impromptu thing with a different style. Different style. So this is an experiment for me. We're going to see how this baby works out. Okay. It's not going to be a long thing. Not here for a long time, here for a good time. We're going to see how it works out. Different style. Okay. First of all, how rude of me. Allow me to introduce myself. Okay. It's Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. And I don't know what we're calling this one. Don't know what we're calling this one. Let me get the music up for you. Okay. Sounds better. Okay. This show, a brief synopsis. This show will basically there's a lot of talk at the moment. There is let me see if I can screen share. Let me see if I can share with you. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, we'll go with this one. Open that in a new, open image in a new tab. Let me see. Boom. Let me come back to this thing and see if I am sharing. Screen share. Okay. Application window. Where is it? Boom. Am I sharing? This could be too complicated. I don't want no rigmarole. I want a nice smooth thing. Where are we? Application window. Trying to share that. Okay, 1 second. Let me get my phone so I can see what I'm sharing and what I am not. Let me see. Okay. What am I sharing? Can't see diddly. I ain't sharing nothing. Right now. Application window. Okay. Looks like I'm not gonna be sharing any images. Looks like I'm not gonna be sharing any images at all. Okay. I have to get two screens to figure that one out. Okay. All right. So no images being shared. Okay. So forget about the images. We're just gonna be going through this thing. All right. So there has been much talk about going to Saudi. going to Saudi Arabia, Joshua Ruiz. And I thought this would be as good a time as any to get an historical perspective on the matter. And so we're going to take a look at two fights, three, including the Saudi thing. But we're going to be looking at the Thriller in Manila versus the Rumble in the Jungle. Thriller in Manila, Rumble in the Jungle. Okay, and then we're going to be comparing that with the perceptions of those fights with the perceptions of this fight in Saudi. So we're looking at all of those things and we comparing and contrasting. Okay. Let me turn this music down a little bit. It's distracting me. Okay. So, we're taking a historical look at these fights. So let's go. Let us go. Okay. So, Rumble in the Jungle took place on October the 30th, 1974. Thriller in Manila, 1 year later, 1975. So let's start with Rumble in the Jungle. Okay. Right. So, Rumble in the Jungle. It was a historical boxing event in Kinshasa, Zaire, now known as the Democratic Republic of Congo. Okay, the Democratic Republic of Congo on October the 30th, 1974. Held at the 20th of May Stadium, now known as Stade de Raphael. It pitted the undefeated heavyweight champion George Foreman against challenger Muhammad Ali, the former heavyweight champion. The event had an attendance of 60,000 people. Ali won by knockout, putting Foreman down just before the end of the 8th round. It is being called arguably the greatest sporting event of the 20th century. And it was a major upset victory, with Ali coming in as the 4-1 underdog against the undefeated, the unbeaten, heavy-hitting Foreman. The fight is famous for Ali's introduction of the rope-a-dope tactic. The fight was watched by a record estimated television audience of 1 billion viewers worldwide. Becoming the world's most watched live television broadcast at the time. This included a record estimated 50 million viewers watching the fight by pay-per-view on closed-circuit theater TV. The fight grossed an estimated 100 million. And if you adjust that to inflation, if it's inflation adjusted, that means the fight grossed $510 million worldwide in revenue. Okay, let's go into a little bit of the history of how the fight was made. Then we'll switch to the next one. Don King arranged this fight with music businessman Jerry Masuki, who took the famed musician Fana All-Stars to play at the venue. King, don't miss that part. Skip that part. Get to the juicy bits. Okay. Fred Wyman, an American advisor to Zaire's dictator, President Mobutu, persuaded Mobutu that the publicity stunt and the high profile of it would generate would help his regime. Mobutu agreed for the fight to be held in his country. Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi came as a primary financial sponsor of the event, providing the purse money for the athletes and covering other major expenses. King pulled together a consortium that included various investment partners and a British company founded by film director John Daly and the actor David Hemmings. Although King is most closely associated with the fight, Hemmingdale and Video Techniques Inc., with whom King was a director, were the bout's official co-promoters. Okay, so we can see that this took some serious organization. So basically, like I said, I'm not here for a long time, I'm here for a good time. So basically, the long and the short of it was that, where are we? Rumble in the Jungle. Rumble in the Jungle took place in basically an African country which was run by a dictatorship. Okay? So not too dissimilar to the Saudi Arabia situation. Some people also call that regime a dictatorship. It's not exactly okay, so it's not exactly a democracy. It certainly is not a democracy over there. But there is a precedent. That's why I bring this up. There is a precedent. And the precedent is Rumble in the Jungle. Yeah, one of the most famous sporting events in history of any sport. Took place in unfavorable conditions. Okay. So now we move on to, I've already told you the winner of that fight. Okay. So now we look at Thriller in Manila. Okay. So, well, first of all, yeah. Okay. I don't need to tell you to do the thing that you need to do. People have already done it. Okay. So, Thriller in Manila was the third and final boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. It was contested in 1975 for the heavyweight championship of the world at the Philippine Coliseum, Philippines. On Wednesday, the October the 1st. The venue was renamed Arena Coliseum, specially for the match. Ali won that fight by technical knockout, TKO, after Frazier's chief second, Eddie Futch, conceded the fight prior to the 15th round. Okay. This bout has been consistently ranked as one of the best in the sport's history and was the culmination of a 3-bout rivalry between the two fighters that Ali won 2-1. The fight was watched by a global television audience of 1 billion viewers, including 100 million viewers watching the fight by pay-per-view on closed-circuit theater television, and 500,000 people by pay-per-view homes on HBO home cable television. Okay, so let's get into the background. Let's get into the background. Okay, so no, we're not talking about the first bout. Fight strategy, referee, no. Legacy. The Philippines' first multi-level commercial shopping mall. This is the legacy of the fight. So the Philippines' first multi-level commercial shopping mall was named after Muhammad Ali as a tribute to his victory. The mall is named Ali Mall and is located in Arenita, the Arenita Center, almost beside the Arenita Coliseum in which the Thriller in Manila took place. Both the mall and the Coliseum still stand to this day. Another legacy of the fight was the pioneering use of communication technology. On September the 30th, 1975, HBO became the first television network in history to deliver a continuous signal via satellite by broadcasting the Thriller in Manila. This revolutionary event, linking satellites with cable, turned cable television from retransmitter to a program provider. The Thriller in Manila was also the very first bout to be on pay-per-view home cable television, which was transmitted via HBO. In 2006, Manny Pacquiao versus Oscar Larios was billed as Thriller in Manila Part 2. I don't think they should have called it that. They shouldn't have called it that. They should not have called it that. Okay, so, like I said, I'm not here for a long time, here for a good time. So, what can we deduce? What can we deduce from these events? And how do they compare with the situation now with Ali? How do they compare with the situation now? Sorry, with Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz Jr., scheduled to take place in Saudi Arabia, December the 7th. How do they compare? Well, okay. So, where are we? Hope I am sharing. Should come through in a few seconds, hopefully. We'll see. We shall see. Am I sharing? No. It says I'm sharing. Okay. Long time lag, time delay. So, okay, there he goes. There I see I am sharing now. Okay, that's great. That's great. Very tiny picture. Let's look for something better. Okay, so what we see is that these fights were considered to be in countries which were not really on the boxing map. These countries weren't on the boxing map. Yeah? Somewhat backward, considered third world countries. But yet, they were able to stage two fights which have gone down in boxing history. So, there's been much talk that, oh no, Saudi Arabia, they don't have a boxing commission. Saudi Arabia, they don't have this. They don't have the structure, the infrastructure. The stadium is not completed. They just started building it. Is it going to be ready in time? Is it this? Is it that? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? It can't happen. They're not ready. It cannot happen. Can't go forward. There's going to be a hitch at the last minute. People are coming up with 110 excuses. People are coming up with more excuses than Andrew Ruiz himself. Coming up with more excuses than Andy Ruiz himself, who's coming up with excuses by the day, new excuse by the day. They're saying the fight can't happen. The place is backward. They can't do it. It's going to be impossible. It's impossible to come off properly. But history does not agree. History tells us something different. History tells us that two of the most iconic events in the sports history have happened in so-called third world countries that were not known for hosting sporting events. But yet, these countries, the Thriller in Manila and the Rumble in the Jungle, hosted two of the most iconic sporting events in sporting history, not just boxing history. Let's be clear. We're not just talking about boxing history here. We're talking about sporting history. So, my response to all of this talk about can they do it? Can they get it done? May I remind you that Saudi Arabia is one of the most financially prosperous countries in the world. So that this talk that they can't do it, to me, is complete and utter nonsense when we look at it through a historical perspective. It is entirely doable. Entirely doable. So, my words to those who say it cannot be done. Surely you jest. We've seen it done before, and no doubt we're about to see it be done again. It's Raphael Dawkins. It's Combat Radio. It's the like, it's the subscribes, it's the comments, it's the shares. And that section of the show is done. Thriller in Manila versus Rumble in the Jungle versus Saudi Arabia. Okay, folks. So that section of the show is done. I will now open up the floor to any questions anyone may have, any thoughts anyone may have on this topic. Like I said, I'm not here for a long time, here for a good time. So kindly feel free to share your thoughts on the subject matter. Yeah. On the subject, what's this? That's crazy. Got into a different screen. Open a new tab. Open image in new tab. There we go. Okay, So Toby Bartlett says, I can't see the Saudi government make themselves look stupid with the whole world looking on. Exacte mundo. This is a big thing. This is a big thing. As we see, history shows us. We have a historical precedent about this bout, about these types of bouts in countries which are looking to rebrand themselves. So we have historical precedents. All stops will be pulled out to make this event as smooth as possible. Okay. Billy Big Bollocks. Billy Big Bollocks says what? Saudi ain't happening. Al Heyman has made a stop to that, says Billy Big Bollocks. Really? How has he made a stop to that? How has he made a stop to that, Billy Big Bollocks? Andy K says Saudi will look whiter than white. Always do on big events. D-Bro in the building. Manny recently did an interview saying one of Ruiz's concerns is that there is no boxing officiating body in Saudi. They will ship in an officiating body for the fight. So they will ship in an official what do they call it? What's the expression? An officiating body for the fight. So an officiating body will be appointed, and they will run all the things that an officiating body does, including all the testing. They'll be in charge of testing and what have you. No doubt, Nevada, the anti-doping agency, will be involved from the start. So I don't see that as an objection. What else? What other comments do we have? What other comments do we have? AD in the building. Scott 70 in the building. Andy K. D-Bro. Toby Bartlett. Whole monitor extraordinaire. Hold on. Wasn't Ped here? Wasn't Ped here originally? Damn. Ped came first and disappeared. Okay. Billy Big Bollocks. AD. Who else we got? Laycraft was in the building, but he had to depart early. Oh dear. Laycraft, see you next time, buddy. Okay. Who else we got? James Sutherland was in the building. James Sutherland said won't happen. Uh-oh. James Sutherland convinced it won't happen. Unemployed Mario Yamasaki was in the building. The Pedmeister was in the building early doors and then disappeared. Have you seen him? Put his picture on the back of a milk carton. Heinrich Schmitz, our man in Germany. Okay, let me scroll back to the bottom of this. See what people are saying. Scott 70. D-Bro, that didn't stop Manny. That didn't stop Manny taking the horn fight in Queensland. where there is no regulatory body for pro boxing. Toby Bartlett. Saudi's got a lot more money than even Uncle Al. And they can pull more strings too. Get This Smoke is up here in the building. Whoa, stop the milk cartons. Stop the printing on the milk cartons. The Pedmeister has reappeared. The Pedmeister has reappeared, as has Tommy Temper. Stop the printing on the milk carton. Save a tree. Save a tree. Okay, folks. Toby Bartlett says, money talks as always. The Saudis just pump it out of the ground. Ifeanyi Zeke says, greetings from Brooklyn. Greetings to you over there in the US of A, East Coast, New York, Brooklyn Zoo. Yeah, I know a little bit about Brooklyn Zoo. Yeah, ODB, as you can see. Yeah, I got the verses down. Okay, folks, so I got to get ready now. Got to head out to get my exercise on. Brought to you by Raphael Dawkins, the Combat Radio. I hope everyone has smashed the like button. Go ahead and smash the like button now if you have enjoyed the show but not already done so. Anyone new to the chat will know that we do this thing on a regular basis. If it's not the videos, it's the live shows. If it's not the live shows, it's the videos. On this one, I just had the inspiration to bang it out. Since I had half an hour on my hands. I said, let me just feed the people. Let me get it out there. It was on my mind. So I thought, yeah, let's share this. And also, a little bit of light education for those who didn't know. Those who too young to know about the thriller in Manila. What was the other one? The Rumble in the Jungle. Get This Smoke says, unless Saudi is in the contract, forget about it. We shall see, Mr. Get This Smoke. We shall see. Yes, indeed. Archie is the mascot, the cat belonging to the Pedmeister. Scott 70 says, keep banging them out, Rafi. Keep banging them out. Keep feeding the people. As a matter of fact, I'm feeding the people internationally. There's some international food parcels going out. Sending out international food parcels, feeding the world. Okay. It's Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like. It's the subscribe. It's the comment. It's the share. And it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. And it is that hitting that donate button. Yeah, that's right. Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio accepting donations for equipment and funding to visit events which shall be filmed. Okay. It's the Ped. It's the Toby Bartlett. It's the Scott 70. The first donator, Scott 70. Salute. It's the D-Bro. It's the Get This Smoke. It's the Tommy T. Who else we got? It's the Ifeanyi Zeke from Brooklyn, New York. It's the Get This Smoke. It's the Andy K. It's the D-Bro. It's the Billy Big Bollocks. It's the AD. It is the chat, the whole of the chat, and the whole of the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio crew. It's the live show, Boxing Talk with Rafi. And I'm out. Blessed.